and welcome back to another episode of The Male Perspective. I am your host, Lana Reid, and today is a wonderful day, an amazing day. I get to spend some time with the fantabulous men of Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated. Today, I have with me the gentlemen of Eta Nu Nu out in Columbus, Ohio. I have with me Brother Matthew Coleman, Brother 𝗙𝗘𝗏𝗏𝗘𝗏, Brother Judson Jeffries, and Brother Leon Peacock. And shortly we will hear more about the amazing work that their chapter is doing and their history. But first and foremost, as I always do, gentlemen, I take a quick moment to pause, say thank you to you all for making time for me today. Time is a gift. Once we give it, we cannot get it back. So I truly appreciate all of you coordinating schedules and making time to sit down and chat with little old me. And with that, gentlemen, welcome to the show. Thank you.
Thank you.
So let's go ahead and get going because we have a little bit of time today, and I have a lot of stuff I want to unpack because from what I read, you gentlemen are just, don't tell the rest of the chapters, but you gentlemen are really, really amazing. You really are amazing. So as I get started, as I generally do, I want to kind of go around and ask, how long has each of you been Omega men, and where did you pledge at, if I may ask? So
now, point of order. We're going to do this.
Okay, Mr. Eric Mays. Eric Mays is not in the room here.
Hold on, sister. Hold on. Typically, that's a question we only allow other brothers to ask us.
Okay.
Or if a woman is a member of the devastating divas 𝗙𝗘𝗏𝗏𝗘𝗏 Sorority Incorporated, but we're going to make an exception this time.
Can I get a pass? I'm Prince Hall Eastern Star. Can I get a pass?
Yes, you may, sister. Yes, you may.
Prince Hall Eastern Star. Can I get a pass?
And I'm a Prince Hall Mason, so
all right. Let me get a pass here.
Let the sister proceed.
Okay. Point of information.
Well,
so may I ask?
Lana, we're going to actually, typically at Omega, we'll start with the eldest brother first.
Okay.
And make our way around. So,
right.
Brother Peacock.
Thank you. I pledged spring of '83, West Virginia State College, which is close to over 40 years. I try not to say the whole thing because Brother Coleman's on here. He smiles really well. So, spring '83, Theta Psi, West Virginia State College, and I've been in fraternity since that time. And the main thing that I focus on is children and family restoration.
Love it. So I think next in line would be Brother Coleman.
No, it would actually, not be.
By 3 weeks. By 3 weeks.
Okay. We go. Who are we giving these 3 weeks to?
Brother Jeffries.
Yeah,
okay.
All right. Officially, Dr. Judson L. Jeffries, Spring 85, Old Dominion University, 38 years.
Yes, awesome. Love it. Who's next?
It's me, Colonel retired Matthew Coleman, pledged 1985, spring 1985 at South Carolina State University. And so it's been 38 great years. He had 30 years of military service coupled with 38 years service in Omega.
Awesome. South Carolina, I'm from North Carolina, so I'm not going to rib you about that for me. But we'll let it slide. And to my brother, my traveling brother.
Indeed. My name is 𝗙𝗘𝗏𝗏𝗘𝗏, and I'm the youngest of the bunch. I crossed me our older graduate chapter here in Columbus, and this Saturday will make 6 years I've been in the fraternity. So still got a long way to go to catch these good brothers.
That's all right. It's a wonderful, wonderful brotherhood to be in. Don't tell nobody, but since undergrad, y'all been my favorite. But so we're gonna throw the first question to your current Basileus, Brother Coleman. Please give me the history of Eta Nu Nu, because you guys, when it comes to the lineage of graduate chapters for Omega Psi Phi, you guys can be considered the babies of the bunch, I'm assuming, although you guys are rich in history. But could you give me the history of your chapter, please?
Yeah, so I will begin with the actual chartering. In November 19th, 2020, our chapter was actually chartered. And we set out from the beginning, we call it the Reclamation Chapter 982. Because we brought back a lot of brothers back into the fold of Omega who wanted to join a chapter that was focused on service. And so we wanted to build a chapter on the foundation of service. We wanted to be very intentional about what we do and how we do it, because we wanted to build a brand. When we looked at the formation of this chapter, we looked at it in terms of what our founders envisioned. And we wanted to see if we could mirror what they had imagined Omega Psi Phi being as that shining light in the community. And I think we established that. We wanted to be unapologetic about being creative and innovative and non-traditional in our approaches, and I think that has come through. As such, our approaches have allowed us to be able to establish some very enduring and important partnerships with very reputable organizations. We wanted to be taken seriously because, sometime in the D9 world, fraternities and sororities are not taken as serious, but particularly when you're dealing with corporation and other large organizations, but we want to be taken seriously. So we will focus on using our collective experiences in education to demonstrate our sincerity to commitment, to excellence in all that we do. And we actually do that. And we wanted to be relentless in our pursuit to impact the youth of the community and those who are in low income and underserved communities. And I think Dr. Jeffries will be talking a little bit more about those particular approaches. We wanted to make sure that we had implementation of our mandated program, but we didn't want to be traditional. We didn't want to be typical. There's nothing typical about Eta Nu Nu and how we do business. And then we wanted to build these programs focused, centered around education and different facets and the social determinants of health. And because we thought those were very, very important. And so as such, in 3 short years, we have committed ourselves to over $383,000 in scholarship. And these are involving in different scholarship programs. This is our chapter scholarship. I Know I Can, which is the largest organization for scholarships to people of color, that particularly those going to HBCUs, our high school essay contest, our talent hunt program. And then we established 2 performing arts programs. It's a strings program that's starting with uplifting those who are in middle school, to alumni strings program supporting a gentleman who's at Berklee School of Music. We wanted to make sure that our scholarship program was very, very robust. And as such, we just kind of did the forensics back to 2022, not including our 2021 numbers, but we have impacted 27 students from 27 different Columbus City and Greater Columbus high schools. So we've had a tremendous, I would say, recognition for our service.
Okay.
Locally, the National Panhellenic Council for Columbus, we have amassed 17 individual and chapter awards, more than any of the 15 D9 organizations in Columbus, Ohio. And we've also won 8 regional awards for the 4th district, which covers the states of Ohio and West Virginia. And that's including small chapter year during our first initial years, to large chapter of the year, and 2 times social action chapter of the year. So we're very, very proud of establishing award-winning lineage, but we're more important about what we have done has been bedrock on service. And that's what we're most proud of.
Awesome. You mentioned that your chapter is considered the reclamation chapter, and you, from what I'm hearing, you've been very successful at getting inactive brothers to become active again. What do you attribute to that success? What I attribute to that success?
What Well, really, the underpinning is that brothers did not want to focus on the social aspects of what you would typically see with a lot of D9 organizations, and they wanted to have organization that they knew through their program and activities that impacted the community. And a good example of bringing back a stellar brother would be the brother who's right here today, who can speak to firsthand what brought him back and what has kept him here and the things that he's done. I'll tell you, he's been a tremendous asset for the fraternity to get a brother with his caliber back into the fold of Omega. And I will turn it over to my distinguished Sans, Dr. Judson L. Jeffries, so he can talk from his perspective.
Dr. Jeffries. Well, first, let me ask, before you get started, could you explain to me some of the dynamics of Columbus? Is it predominantly us? And then, no, okay. Your mic, your mic, Dr. Jeffries.
Oh, Columbus is approximately 28% African American.
Okay.
One of the things that distinguishes Columbus from other cities is that we have the second largest Somali population in the United States of America, behind Minneapolis.
Okay.
So Columbus, I'm going to say probably since the 1980s, has really emerged as one of the country's major metropolitan hubs. I remember when I was leaving Purdue to come to OSU to assume a full professorship here in 2006, and I mentioned to my dad that I was moving, and he erroneously thought that Ohio State University was located in Cleveland. And the reason why he thought that is because when he was coming up, the only two cities worth talking about in the state of Ohio were Cleveland and Cincinnati. Columbus was basically a one-horse town when he was coming up in the 1950s. So Columbus has really emerged as one of the 15 largest cities in the United States of America, with us comprised of 28% of the population. But listen, sister, so let me mention something to you about Colonel Coleman. So by and large, the reason why this chapter is successful is because he has incorporated sort of like a military corporate model. What I mean by that is, so in our chapter, the following things are featured prominently, right? Division of labor, right? Not as much as we like, but division of labor, professionalism, discipline, and Colonel Coleman has done a yeoman's job of reaching out to various corporations, businesses, and companies, and establishing relationships that have yielded tremendous benefits for the chapter. As Brother Coleman mentioned, so I walked away from the fraternity more than 25 years ago. And the reason why I walked away from the fraternity more than 25 years ago is because I did not believe that by the way, it's called the illustrious Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated, point of order. I didn't believe. He's gonna get me some way or another. I did not believe that we as an entire fraternity was actually fulfilling our potential. We weren't actualizing our full potential, right? And I mean, in the United States of America, you have Black people dying every day. As a student of the teachings of the Prophet Muhammad, I try not to cuss, but Black folk been catching hell for decades. And I did not think that we were putting forth the kind of effort to alleviate the kind of oppression under which we live. So I stepped away for 25 years or more. I came back recently in the last couple of years when this new chapter was established, because I got the distinct impression that we were willing to do things differently. And we have been. So for instance, so we have a set of nationally mandated programs that are basically older than me, right? And I'm 58 years old. So what the brothers in this chapter initiated by Brother Coleman, is come in and created programs that actually speak to the life chances of people of African descent. So a couple of things that we're proud of right off the bat. So we got a breast cancer awareness program where we target women. Obviously, men are susceptible to breast cancer too, but not like Black women. Black women are disproportionately afflicted by breast cancer vis-a-vis their white counterparts, such that Black women have a mortality rate, right? They are 42% more likely to succumb to breast cancer than their white counterparts, right? So, and then we have a prostate cancer event. So when you look at prostate cancer, when you look at Black men and cancers, prostate cancer amounts to 37% of all cancer cases with regard to Black men. And what we're trying to do, so we're bringing in physicians and medical folk, and what we're trying to do is we're trying to encourage Black men and Black women, hey, listen, get regularly scheduled checkups, right? So that these diseases are caught early, because when they're caught early, they can be combated, right? So what we're trying to do, in addition to that, what we're trying to do is we're trying to create programs in addition to our nationally mandated programs that speak to the social determinants of health, and that at the end of the day, enhance the life chances of people who live not only in Columbus, but in Central Ohio. And what we've done now, we've gotten a lot of press regarding our accomplishments, but I'm here to tell you, sister, I'm here to tell you, what we've done is just the tip of the iceberg. At the end of the day, not only are we going to be the chapter against which all others are measured in the 4th district, but we're going to have chapters all across the world emulating what we do. That's not brag, that's just fact.
And that speaks to, I was reading the newsletter and you author, and I was flipping through it, and you talk about where you would like to see Omega Psi, illustrious Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated, evolve, grow, make some adjustments with. And this is always a question that I ask when I do run across D9, because I think all of you, except for the latest entry into the D9, is 100 years or more. And so what was working 100 years ago is definitely not applicable in 2023. So, and you gentlemen have been in it for a while now. What adjustments do you see we need to make for these younger brothers, elementary school brothers that will be coming, into Omega Psi Phi in their lifetime? What do we need to, what adjustments do we need to make? What programs do we need to shift? What mindsets do we need to?
Okay, so quickly. So one of the things that we're really good at is getting these young kids, boys and girls, early, right? So Colonel Coleman talked about the scholarships that we give out. He also mentioned our talent hunt and scholarship recognition program. So one of the things that we're doing is we're saying, hey, listen, shoot for the stars, and we will take you as far as you're willing. We will take you as far as Deep Space Nine when it comes to scholarship. After all, scholarship is our second cardinal principle, right? So two of the things we do, right, with the talent hunt, what we're doing is we are featuring these very talented young men and women, such that perhaps they may have aspirations to go to Hollywood. And if not go to Hollywood, we want to showcase that talent with their hopes of getting them a scholarship to go to a school that's highly reputable in music. So Brother Coleman mentioned we had one student who's at the Berkeley School of Music. Now, when we met him, his aspirations were significantly lower than the Berkeley School of Music. When you talk about the Berkeley School of Music, you're talking about other institutions on par with it, like the Pratt Institute, like Juilliard and whatnot, Indiana University School of Music. With regard to our scholarships, the scholarships that we've been awarding kids, we not only give them a scholarship so as to defray the cost of the tuition for their parents, but we're keeping track of them. So just last week, I communicate with 3 of our scholarship winners because we want to keep them on a straight and narrow, make sure that they graduate on time, and mentor them such that when it's time for them to graduate, they know the route that they plan to take. So as an educator, one of the things that I want these young kids to do, although sometimes I get resistant, I want them to get an advanced degree. And the reason why I want them to get an advanced degree is because the BA that Brother Coleman, Brother Caffey, Brother Peacock, and I got way back when, that's the equivalent of a high school diploma these days. Yeah. So I'm telling these kids, hey, listen, pursue an advanced degree, get an MBA, go to law school, go to medical school, get a PhD. Mm-hmm. So we're very hands-on when it comes to these kids. I don't think that was something that was done decades earlier. Mm-hmm. So that's one of the things that we're doing that I think will yield significant dividends in the future.
Yeah.
Lana, I just want to take an opportunity. There's 2 things, because the impact, and we talk about that young man he really came from a single parent family. Didn't know much of his dad, but just because of the relationship and mentorship piece that we had with him, he has adopted me as his godfather. And so that's a very, very special thing. But I could tell you, and I appreciate my fans' accolades, but I could not do it without having a tremendous team and teammate. And the man who really manages all of the committees in the chapter, and he is my wingman through and through, day, night, morning. You probably say I'm a little bit relentless, but he's used to those 4 o'clock text messages buzzing with me. Is really my vice bosses, Antonio Caffey, and I can tell you, hands down, I've been a boss of several chapters to include Hawaii and Germany, and hands down, he's the first guy I met that could match my intensity when it came to the work that I do in the fraternity. And I said that to him before he and I became bosses and vice bosses, but I wanted him to segue into it because he's been shoulder to shoulder and helping establish and communicating with those partnerships, and then managing the committees that actually facilitate the program activities of the chapter.
All right. So
Brother Caffey,
how is it that you managed to keep all these menfolk egos, and sometimes we get along and sometimes we don't get along. Sometimes I don't feel like doing that, and sometimes I do feel like doing that. What is it like managing or co-managing the team?
Well, one thing that allows me to do that is a very, very understanding wife. So that when I do get that text message,
what do y'all call QX? QX, is that what the wives are called?
Yeah. Very, very understanding wife. But in all seriousness, it's a you have to be passionate about the work that we believe in the work that we're doing. Mm-hmm. And I mean, both on like what we do as a chapter and as individually. Each of these brothers on here has impacted me in one way or another, and I always give them credit for that. Brother Peacock, I met him years ago when I was an undergraduate. I always tell him that I've been in management for almost 30 years now, and my management style was shaped by what I observed him doing when he was the assistant director of a program that I worked for. Brother Jeffries, professor at The Ohio State University, my alma mater, helped me tremendously get my daughter prepared to attend Howard University, by, looking at her essays and offering some advice. And Brother Coleman, is just like you when you meet someone that shares that excitement, like I just enjoy talking to this brother and bouncing ideas off of each other. And then that it just keeps me motivated. So when you have a motivated group of brothers that they understand the work that needs to be put in, and then to go through all this planning and then to see it actually evolve, to see when we had the breast cancer event that Brother Jeffries mentioned earlier, to see the smiles on the ladies' faces as we, you know, presented them with gifts and just showered them with love. It just it makes it worth it. So it's truly a labor of love, and I really enjoy, you know, the work that we do in the fraternity, because I know it's having an impact.
Now, you gentlemen have only been around for 3 years. I guess my next question is, was there another chapter in Columbus, or was it just dormant, or what was going on at the time?
Okay, let me take that. So listen, we've been getting that question a lot over the last couple of years. And our response is very simple. If you have a city that's one of the top 15 largest cities in the United States of America, and you're trying to tackle some of the problems that Black folks face on a day-to-day basis, one chapter just simply isn't enough.
Okay, gotcha.
One chapter simply is not enough.
Gotcha.
Now. Having said that, we have 2 chapters. Leadership shares some things in common, but there are some avenues in which the 2 chapters travel that diverge, and that's fine too. But in order to tackle the kind of problems that we as Black folk face, one chapter just simply is not enough in a city like Columbus. Maybe in Lima, Ohio, or Zanesville, or Chillicothe, that would work, but not for Columbus.
Gotcha. Now, let me ask one more question before my mind goes in another direction, because you had said something, Dr. Jeffries, about you had been inactive for 25 years. So, and it was Brother Coleman that kind of got you back in. Did he run into you at the grocery stores? I mean, how do you guys connect with each other if you're
No. So it wasn't necessarily Brother Coleman who brought me back into the photo. It was Brother Coleman who convinced me that it was worth staying.
Okay.
Once I came back, there were a couple of other brothers. One of whom is my former student by the name of Charles Campbell, who reached out to me and said, "Hey, Brother Jeffries, if you're interested in coming back, there's a new chapter about to be founded, and the folk who are in charge are interested in thinking outside the box and doing things differently." And I said, okay, I'll give it a try. It was once Brother Coleman, I met Brother Coleman, and I said, oh, they met Brother Caffey, and I said, okay, there's some serious-minded brothers willing to think outside of the box. Okay, I think I'll give this a try.
Now, Brother Leon Peacock, we haven't heard from you. I want to know how it is that Brother Coleman got you to roll up your sleeves and get to work and get involved.
Like leadership, I stepped away after I crossed, because when I came to Columbus, I said, when we're going to work with the Bloods and Crips and the gangs, and the brother said, we don't do that. And what I learned was many of the D9 at that time were considered themselves a polished organization. And so they moved away from what we did 100 years ago. 100 years ago, it was uplift of a race, uplift of a people. And so I knew that if they're not about uplifting a race, uplifting of a people, and dealing with the gangs, because they're going to be future fathers, then I was not prepared to deal with them on the level of just being socialized as the D9 was at that time. A brother called me, I'm in South Carolina, and I had taught this brother that if you put a Q in every organization in the city, you will manage the city. Other people use control. We control animals. We manage human beings, which our boss does a great job, and my brother Caffey and Dr. Jeffries. So I said, if you put a Q in every spot, you'll do a great job managing the city as far as moving up and uplift. And I taught him how you do it. He calls me in South Carolina, and he says, we have a brother leading us now. And he says, Brother Coleman is military trained. He says one thing that we didn't highlight is that he makes the brothers respect women. You cannot say negative stuff. You can't do a dance that's negative. And even if he found out a day later, he gonna step to you. That's major. That's real major, because through our sisters and through our mothers and through our daughters, we bring about community development. So when Jeff called me, I couldn't get here, basically. I had just been pulled back into the fraternity after probably being gone since 1983, in which I eventually made Omega Man of the Year. And so I was watching what they did online. I was watching what they did. And when I got the opportunity, I relocated from South Carolina here. And immediately, you don't walk into the fire where I come from, you jump in the fire. And our leadership is a military soldier. And so if he say move, you move. We cannot say but or ask. We just move right into the fire. We jump right into deep water. So once I saw that he was of that mindset, then I just came back and jumped into the work.
He got you. Well, the chapter got you to relocate?
Yes, ma'am. I really was doing extremely well, but the mindset of men is different. Polished men will not deal with issues that affect our community on a daily basis, as Dr. Jeffries says. And in South Carolina, the brothers live well. They live well because they understood generational wealth. In the South, the brothers are trained in a different mindset. But the suffering that was going on, they wasn't willing to get involved because to polished men, highly educated men, that's called getting your hands dirty. And so that's not my mindset. And so I was doing a lot of the work, and not to put the brothers down, I just understand. I was doing a lot of the work, working in 4 different schools by myself. Once Jeff said that this brother came with an agenda and picked up the agenda and created an agenda, then I knew he could move a nation forward, as well as the fraternity forward. And Brother Caffey is major. Brother Caffey was an undergrad. He would ask questions. And all I would say is, when you get in, you change it intellectually. When you get in, you change it intellectually. And he's done it. Thank God for his wife.
There's always a woman behind the scenes.
Oh, it's no secret.
Well, I think it's important what Brother Peacock just said. Recently, Brother Caffey, along with Brother Peacock, had a meeting with the Juvenile Intervention Correctional Center in Columbus, Ohio, as we're looking at implementing a program, a chess program, as a part of their treatment. And so Brother Peacock has had a lot of experience in the correctional facilities. But can you speak a little bit about, don't mind, about that? Because I think that's important, because one of the ladies that was a program coordinator there probably says it best. She said, the D9 generally looks for the things that's not difficult to put their hands in and get involved in. This correctional facilities are difficult work. And now you men are asking us for you to gain access so that you can do the difficult.
So you work juvenile or adults?
Juvenile, which if we do not catch them early enough, they will move to the adult system. And because I come from, excuse the language, the projects, a community they release a lot of ex-fellas back into the community. They come home. And when they come home, they bring that mindset with them, and they bring the mindset into the entire city. And as a young male, I was engulfed in it. I took it to college with me, and it took people telling me, you're not in prison. This is not your lifestyle. But I did. Once I got out of high school, out of college, I went back and began to work in those communities, doing prison ministry, worked in a juvenile setting. And after you do the study, because we're founded by a bishop, a scientist, a doctor, a professor, the nucleus of them is research. And after I did the research, I basically realized that we can catch these guys and redirect them. But part of prison ministry, the gentleman said, they will say things like, I'm not going to get out, reach my sons. I'm not going to get out, reach the young men. So when I asked Blood, what do we do different? He said, train them to think and train them to read. He said, if I was able to think, I wouldn't be here. If I was able to read, I wouldn't be here. But as a result of him being in prison, he said he has picked up every certification in building construction, that when he gets out, he's not going back to the game because of the position that he came into the prison. He already put his work in. So he said to me, your charge is get to their mind. Get to their mind, they're not coming here. And so what I would like to present to her is an institution of higher learning, Eta Nu Nu institution of higher learning. But the underscore is Malcolm X School of Knowledge, because Malcolm went in Detroit Red, but he came out Malcolm X. So we, as Eta Nu Nu, because we're under a general, we're under a scholar, and I'm not Masonic, but we're under a brother that's real organized. And he teaches. We're able to transform those young men that before they get out, imagine that we go to the mayor and say, we're going to train them to be chess coaches. We would like for you to set aside an income so that when they come out, they can intellectually provide for themselves, but working within the school district. Imagine that happening. So now they're being placed. Eta Nu is supervising them. Therefore, they're not going to go back and recommit a crime because we've developed them intellectually. There's a professor who works at Ohio State that they're able to touch. When you're a criminal, you can't touch a gentleman like Dr. Jeffries. But because of Eta Nu Nu, you can actually sit in the audience and his aura becomes your aura. You're not going to go back and commit a crime.
You know, I think, you know, that's one of the things that we're really struggling to find, and not to cut you off, really trying to struggle to find some direction in the Black community, because we understand that boys grow into men and we need brotherhood. You need that bond. And we want our men to gravitate towards brotherhood, like Omega Psi Phi and the other brotherhoods of the D9. How do we steer them away from Crips and Bloods and Chicago stuff? You know, so what is the path? What are the programs? What are the initiatives that we have to bring into our communities to get them to grab? Because I think this is a concern for me. Some of our young boys are not going to go to college, and that is some of the avenues that they can get into a D9 fraternity. But you know, some of the programs that you're bringing to or conceptualizing is the Eta Nu Nu Foundation, and I think that will be a good avenue because we need our boys. We need our boys, and how do we get them to partake in healthier brotherhood is always the concern in our communities.
Hey, sister, let me jump in here. Let me talk a little bit about Brother Peacock for a second. So when I met Brother Peacock years ago, we struck up a conversation about chess, right? And Brother Peacock makes these magnificent looking chessboards. Yeah, I mean, they're really something to behold. In any event, he teaches chess to young folk, and he promotes the learning of chess, such that I don't even think I told him this. Such that after he and I met, this was a decade ago or more. After he and I met, I went out and bought a chess set and started teaching my two boys chess. Now, you know, it had never occurred to me to teach my boys chess, but after I met him, and our meeting was like 30 minutes. We just ran into each other at like a festival, and he was telling me about the importance of chess. I went out and bought a chess set, started teaching my boys how to play chess. Now, here's the reason I'm mentioning this, right? So it wasn't until I had that conversation with Brother Peacock that I then started researching chess in a way that I'd never had before. I played it, but I didn't research the game. So I researched the game to such a degree where it became obvious once I did a deep dive into it, how chess helps you with math, helps you with learning about math, helps you with learning about science, namely physics, right? Also helps you with developing your critical and analytical thinking skills, helps you with strategy, problem solving, and leadership. Now, whether my two boys have picked up all of that, it's a conversation for another day. But this is one of the ways in which we can reach these young boys through Brother Peacock's ideas about chess. Because at the end of the day, sister, at the end of the day, one of the things that scares me is when I send my boys out, whether they're going to school, whether they're going to meet with friends, whether they're going trick-or-treating, because as you know, hey, listen,
every day
there are people out here who hate us. Some of them wear badges and some of them carry guns, right? And I'm saying, hey, listen, we're getting to a point, now I don't want to engage in hyperbole, but I will in order to stress a point. We're getting to the point where, hey, listen, the Black male may end up being put on the endangered species list if it's not being disproportionately targeted by people who carry guns and badges, right? Folk who employ extra legal force resulting in our murder, right? You got some deranged white person, right? you go trick or treating. That's why when they go trick or treating, I'll go with them. You got some deranged white person who, when they ring the doorbell, either asking for directions or trick or treating, you got somebody coming to the door, shooting dead one of our young boys. So, you know, when Brother Peacock presented me with that idea about chess and its potential, it got me to thinking. I was like, yeah, wow, this is a way to reach these young men and women, but especially young boys.
Chess has so many life lessons. So hold on. Do you, he mentioned that you build, you create chessboards. Is that a teaching tool that you use with the young kids?
Yes, ma'am. What happened was I was teaching the game and a brother just got out of prison. At that time, they wore brown uniforms. They carried a brown bag. And as I'm teaching them, he stood there. While I'm teaching the kids on the street, I was teaching the black and white version. And he said, when they left, he said, you must also teach black moves first. And I never heard of that. And so many men that get out of prison do not teach their children how to play because white moves first, subliminal races. The white squares on the right, which means white is always right. So when he finished explaining the subliminal aspect of chess, I asked him, how did he know this? He said, in prison, all we have is time to read, time to study, time to learn. And that's when it hit me. If we create a modality, which is a healing concept that allows the felons to come home and participate in the nurturing of the community, then a lot of the things that's destroying us will not happen. And so what is the simplest thing that they could come home and teach? Chess. When they start teaching kids, so I had to create a modality. I had to read the military manuals. I had to read the Marines manual and put all that in there, but you do it from a call and response. Call and response. The kids are playing. I say, think before you move, think before you, and the kids will finish, touch a piece. The most powerful piece in the game is the queen. Brother Caffey got a shirt at a picnic. I said, Brother Caffey, give me the shirt. By right, he should have gave it to me because I'm the older cute, but I nurtured him. He said, no, brother. He said, this for my wife. And then I said, cut it off. I already knew what that meant. Got a shadow of a doubt. So in the game of chess, I tell the kids, you can have 9 queens on that chessboard, but 1 wife. Let's be clear. So you're teaching a life skill, which reflects marriage, but also in the game of chess, because so many are coming from the single home that when they lose their queen, they give up because they think of their mother. So while I'm working the street, I'm learning. And I just went into every book, every institution, and researched it and put it into the game of chess. But I had to paint the boards black, red, and green because black men will not teach on a black and white board that came out of prison because they knew the subliminal racism. So when I put black, red, and green on there and put the fist on there, the brothers love it, but the white folks hate it. So you're in a dilemma. The white folks has the money. It don't matter. To resurrect our community as our Basileus is doing, which I call family restoration, because we do breast cancer, which is the women, prostate cancer with the men. We just give scholarships to the children. And we also do diaper stuff. He's covered the entire family. So by the time Eta Nu Nu finishes, they could look at us as a beacon on the hill, and we restored families all over the city. The next move is all over the country. We've done the job that our founders have asked us to do for uplifting the race in the nation.
Brother Peacock.
And you know, you said the white folks, I keep on cutting off, brother. I'm sorry. You mentioned that white folks got the money, but black folks got $1.6 trillion in spending money. We got the money. We just need to find your chessboards. That's all we need to. But we gonna get there because y'all gonna spread this out. Now my apologies because I keep on.
No, I just wanted, you talked about programs, and the unique thing about Eta Nu Nu, and I want my vice boss to talk about a couple of initiatives that we are doing with our fatherhood and mentoring in our Omega STEM program. But what we did, unlike, a lot of the sororities that focus on young ladies, the fraternities focus on young men. Unique thing that we did in Eta Nu Nu is we made our programs co-ed, because we understand that not only our impact on young boys, but a lot of these young girls are coming out of these single parent family where they don't have a male figure. And so Brother Caffey, as quiet as kept, has worked in social services his entire career. So he does have perspective, and he brings that energy to the table as we look at these unique programming. And I just want an opportunity to just kind of talk about some of those initiatives that we're actually trying to implement or are implementing.
Yeah, so mentoring and all the programs that we do with our youth, they're important. We have a STEM program at Johnson Park Middle School, where we have a club that meets with students that are interested in STEM, and try to really get them excited about it, because we know, the STEM field is really growing. In Columbus, Intel is about to build a major plant, and they're going to invest a lot of money into the community and into, getting folks excited about that. So we love working with the students there on STEM. At East Linden Elementary School, we've been doing this for some time now. We call it Breakfast with the Qs, where once a month we come in and we meet with the fifth graders, and they're always excited to see us. We're excited to see them. But it's just about that presence, having that presence at those schools. And then we're excited. In January, we're going to launch our Omega Leaders program at Hamilton STEM Academy. And as Brother Coleman said, it's going to be a co-ed mentoring program with young men and women, where, again, it's just about that presence, talking about some of those issues that are impacting and affecting them, and meeting them where they're at, instead of, coming in and being self-righteous, but it's really meeting those students where they're at and helping raise their consciousness about certain things. So again, we have a lot going on. One exciting thing about our chapter, if you haven't noticed, besides our, we love talking, but just the level of ideas and the intellectual approach that we take to things. Now, not saying other chapters and other fraternities and the sororities and the D9 don't have these conversations, but we truly take these conversations and then we put them into action. And I think that distinguishes us a lot from those other organizations. We'll get a plan. Brother Coleman has a certain way he likes to see things, planned out, and he has his requirements, the things that he needs to see in order to make it happen. But once we get it there, and then he takes it and he can really, put it into place. So again, it's taking those ideas and putting it into action. But we have a lot of different things that's going on. Sometimes it seems like it's at the same time, but it's because the need is there. But I think Brother Jeffries spoke on it earlier, as far as with the city being the size it is, and the things that's going on right now in the city. The need is definitely there for the type of not only programming, but the innovative programming that we're bringing, including Brother Peacock's chess program that we're excited about as well.
How many brothers are there in the chapter?
I think the last count was 84 financial members.
And y'all are boots to the ground for real. Okay.
Yes. One of the things I would tell you, because we were talking a lot about strategic, what was the key for us just taking off like a rocket, is that we actually sat down and wrote a 5-year strategic plan for the chapter. And we had lines of effort that we were focusing on, because we thought that we needed to have strong partnerships. And so we wanted to focus on community partnering. We were looking at our level of engagement in the community, and we focused on that. And then we were focusing on our outreach and impact. So we had strategic direction. We had a roadmap and to go on. And so everything was guided off of that roadmap. The only issue that we have is that we have achieved so much so fast that we have to go back and relook that, because we have already achieved 75% in 1 year after writing that 5-year strategic plan. And and the brothers on here knows that I believe in challenging us. And so we have pushed the envelope to challenge ourselves so that we could give back more to the community. And just recently, we worked, one of the strategic partners that we're very, very proud to have is The Ohio State University, where we have partnered on a number of events, and they love working with us. To quote from one of their directors of community engagement and equity and health issues, she said, I love working with Eta Nu Nu because when y'all come to a plan that y'all say is the concept, it's the plan. And all we have to do, we don't have to do no work. All we have to do is just get behind your plan. And so we love it. Usually we have to coach people. We have to talk to them. We have to, y'all come well-researched, laid out the entire plan from the very beginning.
That's that military background I'm thinking.
Now, Sister Reid, let me before we move on, I just want to make sure that you understand why we're emphasizing STEM. So let me give a few remarks, right?
Okay.
Quickly. So, for instance, The Ohio State University, right? That was founded as a liberal arts school, right? But you wouldn't know it. But you wouldn't know it in the last 10 years because it has featured STEM prominently.
Okay.
However, Sister Reid, here's the thing. Schools like the Ohio State University and other liberal arts schools are now featuring science, technology, engineering, and math in their curriculum, so much so that they are almost indistinguishable from schools like MIT, Georgia Tech, the Rochester Institute of Technology, Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute. Now, the reason why I bring this up is because these liberal arts schools are featuring STEM so prominently, right? It would behoove young kids coming out of high school, right, to major in areas related to science, technology, engineering, and math. I'm afraid if they don't major or minor in those areas, they may get left behind. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to cultivate and stimulate an interest and a love in these fields among these young folk so that when they get to college, they will major in fields and areas related to STEM. Second, so historically, folk in the last 20 years, I shouldn't say historically, I'm going to say the last 20 or 30 years, women have been severely underrepresented in the areas of science, technology, engineering, and math. Severely underrepresented. When you talk to employers, why that's the case, or when you talk to academics, why that's the case, they say, oh, because women haven't shown an inclination toward these areas. Or even many decades before, you had scholars saying that, oh, that they don't have the acumen for science, technology, engineering, and math. And where does this thinking come from? This thinking come from many moons earlier when you had Harvard scholars and scholars at other prestigious universities producing research that argued that you should steer women away from pursuing a college education, because if you allow them a college education, that would harm their reproductive organs. So the point that Brother Coleman made, right, about not only targeting boys, right, but bringing our young girls along is poignant because we want to make sure that they are the recipients of opportunities that have historically been shut off to them. And we want to make sure that these kids who are going to schools like the Ohio State University, the Ohio State University is very different from the school that I taught at previously, Purdue. If you go to Purdue, you're interested in science, technology, engineering, and math. And OSU is becoming increasingly a science, technology, engineering, math school, along with other schools. Yeah. And we want students to think about majoring in those areas. Otherwise, they are going to be at a disadvantage when they hit the job market.
Get these kids. Well, I think I have taken up more of your time than I expected. And I'm hearing that you gentlemen have something else to move on to. So I want to wrap it up with one more question before I ask you my random question. We know that we have the chess program coming up. Is there anything else we should be expecting from Eta Nu Nu in the future that we have not discussed? Any programs?
Programs. Well, we got our Achievement Week banquet that's coming up on November 17th. It's going to be a fantastic event, first-class event. You know, when you got people walk away from Eta Nu Nu events, they always use the word classy. So we enjoy having that. We do have our talent hunt and scholarship recognition program that's coming up in March 10th at Capital University. But I have to go back to February because that's where we do our breast cancer event. We don't do it in the month of October. We want to focus on our Black sisters who are disproportionately affected by breast cancer. We do it in February during Black History Month. And not only that, we work with the Ohio State University. We to get the Stephanie Spielman Comprehensive Breast Cancer Center. If you know, that's a 5-star center, and they provide wraparound service to the ladies regardless of insurance or income. And we work with Life Care Alliance and the Columbus Cancer Clinic so that we can get free prosthesis. And we also got mastectomy bras for all of those ladies who had underwent double single mastectomy or lumpectomy surgery. So different approach, innovative approach. We brought it up when we had a breast cancer event with another sorority, and nobody took us serious to partner with us. And it has really, really taken Columbus by storm. And probably the most beautiful thing is, and Brother Caffey alluded to it, when you had women leaving departing that event in tears to say, I have never been treated so good, because we loved on them, because the theme was survivorship, a celebration of life beyond the struggle. And we wanted to thank them because we need our sisters, we need our moms, we need our daughters, we need our aunties, you know, and we wanted to uplift them and encourage them. So that is a signature event. And then for most of our event, Chamberlain School of Nursing provide us their nursing school students because we're integrated into a partnership with them as well. We've brought in Lifeline of Ohio, who's important for organ donation and those things. So that kind of wraps it up. So we have the City of Columbus Department of Neighborhoods have been partnering us with a number of these initiatives. And so it's been a beautiful, beautiful thing to have an organization with such a short history that could win over all of these prestigious organizations and then have them come. And I got to put a shout out for Big Star Transit, because they were very, very important players in providing access to healthcare and also providing donation and funding for Eta Nu Nu. And then 4-Star Freightliner, when you start talking about program initiatives for those who don't want to go to college, where they're bringing in partners with the resources to create a diesel technician program that some of these high school seniors can go to school half day and then get paid $12 to $15 an hour on the other half of their day, and then with guaranteed apprenticeship program, 2 years of employment after graduating, and $3,000 worth of equipment. So we're trying to work right now with Columbus City Schools and other partners to be able to implement that program, hopefully in the very near future.
Now, one more thing before I let you gentlemen go, that you all have seemed to gloss over, but I think I read that some of you are missed your career calling and are Motown singers. Did I hear you guys are going Christmas caroling too as well?
Brother Caffey.
Did I hear? Did I read that right?
I believe that the program is Carols on Cleveland. Is that the name?
Yeah, it's called Carols on Cleveland.
Yeah, it's a program that we work with the city of Columbus on each year, where we go out and it's a great program.
So I can buy the CD. I can buy the Eta Nu Nu CD.
We don't.
It's not going to be a sing, but
they'll cancel the event if that happens.
but we will actually, the program fed over 400 families, so they were able to get low-income community to get food. We provided both toys and gift cards for the teenage kids, and we were really the labor force of actually setting up everything for the program activity and help them with implementation. So it is our social action program, which we didn't talk, but you need to have us back on again, because
I see that. But real quick, while I have it in the frame, Brother Leon, could you show me one of the chessboards? I see Ohio State one. About how long does it take you to craft one?
Normally, I did these in a week.
Okay. That sounds like a good, because we don't have some of these old programs that we had in high school, like shop and stuff like that. It seems like that would be like a good program. Okay, I like that. Okay. Yeah, us Black folks, we got money to buy that. We got money to buy those. All right. Okay, gentlemen, I'm going to ask my random question, and we probably will have to come back again. Are you teaching actually on a campus, Dr. Jeffries?
I am.
Okay, so I remember one of the first things that sparked my interest in college was my cousin. While she was going to Winston-Salem State University, she used to drag me, and I used to sit in class with her. Do you gentlemen do tours to college campuses as well? I'm just asking more questions I should do. But do we do college tours? Take the kids to colleges? Eta Nu Nu?
No, that's not something we've ventured into yet, but it's something we're considering.
Yeah, actually, it's funny that you just mentioned that, because actually we partnered with several elementary schools this past Friday and took them actually to Ohio State. For a day in the life of a Buckeye, again, exposing, because we had talked about, as Brother Jeffries was saying, possibly, doing like HBCU trips and things like that. But it's really, okay, let's work with, a resource that we have in the community, which is Ohio State. So we were able to coordinate the logistics for a couple busload full of elementary school students to get a full tour of Ohio State, and again, expose them to something that they may not have even thought of, but for the trip that they took. So it was a great experience.
We took four elementary schools, fifth grade classes from low income areas. It was 149 students that actually went on the trip, and the Ohio State University Director of Belonging and Social Change felt so good about that experience. Today indicated that there will be annual programming spearheaded by Eta Nu Nu.
All right, let me ask my question.
Is this question truly random?
She pulled it out of and hey, look, we already know the deferred person is always the youngest brother that got to answer the question.
This randomization doesn't seem very scientific, but go ahead, sister.
I don't like this question. How many days past the expiration date? Well, the one with the wife, maybe. Well, I didn't get the dynamics on everybody else. So I'm just assuming here. My grandmother used to say. Anyway, how many days past the expiration date before you throw out the milk? Totally random. See, Dr. Jeffries, totally random. How many days past expiration do you check it? This is, undergraduate college days. You might have held on to that thing forever, but now, let me pull in. Go ahead.
It depends. If it's skim milk, you can hold on to it a little longer. If it's whole milk, then I'm like, I don't look at the date. You got to open it up and smell it. If it still smells good, it's good. It's good. If it smells a little funny, you gotta dump it. So
somebody's stomach is gonna be bubbling.
Hey, look,
I allow the ancestors to speak to me on that.
Look, I'm tossing it. Hey, look, once the expiration comes, I'm tossing it.
I open up like, I smell it. I'm like, and then like if my son or daughter is home from college, I'll test it on them. Like, hey, this tastes
I'm so old. I remember powdered milk, so we didn't even have that issue. You just had to mix it in with some water. Worry about that. But anyways, one more question, because how often do you look at your phone every day, Dr. Jeffries?
Oh my goodness gracious! Way too often. Way too often. Yeah, way too often. In fact, yeah, way too often. And I'm so old school that the only things I do with my phone is call, text, and take pictures. But I look at that thing constantly, to the point where I'm pretty sure I'm addicted. And that's not good. That's just simply not good. Just spending way too much time on your phone.
Look, he just got a new phone, and all of a sudden you start to see emojis and stuff. He never used to send emojis.
Mr. Reid, I had an i6 phone. I had an i6 phone for 7 years. And I finally just broke down 2 weeks ago and got an i14. Yeah, spend way too much time on the phone. Way too much time.
Oh, impressive. Well, I saw some of the video footage, so there must be a brother in the chapter who's responsible for all of the smartphone videography stuff going on with your chapter.
Right there, you got him, Caffey.
Oh, you're the gentleman who's making all the amazing content, social media content and all of that stuff, right?
I just put it together. I usually get stuff from Brother Coleman or Brother Jeffries, and I'll put it together and they'll tell me how it's wrong.
Well, Jeffries is not taking it with his old phone, is he? I mean,
no.
Well, what Brother Caffey gets from me, from me in that regard is normally sent to him by my 14-year-old.
And look, he couldn't do nothing with that old phone. He couldn't even see videos. He couldn't see anything. He was like, Brother Coleman, I can't access this link. Brother Coleman, I can't see this video.
Sure couldn't.
Brother Caffey, can you resend me the link? I can't access the link.
Beautiful.
The phone would not open links. Now, by the way, Sister Reid, what part of LA are you in?
I'm in Gardena, so I'm not far from SoFi Stadium, or I guess where the Lakers used to play, Inglewood Forum, where that area. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I'm in Gardena, so not too far away.
I asked that because I got my PhD at USC.
Well, we probably need to end this conversation now because I went to UCLA. So
for the brothers on this call, UCLA and USC is the equivalent of Michigan and Ohio State.
Oh yeah, I mean, I try.
It's very appropriate that we are at the end of the show now. Until then, I have enjoyed your company. But no, gentlemen, I have truly enjoyed myself with you all. It is just so wonderful to experience the energy, the brotherhood. I mean, I just think that, that's really what it's about. I think that's, you hear some young folks pushing back on the D9 philosophy. So, it's just amazing to have this example of what it is about, the work that you're doing, service, uplifting the community. From little old me, I'm so happy. I'm so proud. Y'all, I don't know how to tell y'all gonna keep on doing what you're doing, but from little old me, just keep on doing what you're doing. If I'm ever in Columbus, except for Brother Jeffries, I'll stop by and visit y'all and say hello and everything like that. One last question, because I'm the daughter of a military man, so we're gonna pretend like Brother Coleman's not listening. Does he work your nerves sometimes with the whole discipline and the strict and it got to be this way and I ain't deviating from plan and these are the orders, and does it ever get a little difficult, a little challenging? I ain't gonna tell him what y'all say.
No, it's for me. I only can speak personally. It's not that. It's like it confuses me when he gets into the military jargon. And I have to. I don't understand it. You know, Brother Jeffries has background, and some other brothers have. I'm there like, bro, just tell me regular time. I don't need old. If it starts with old something, I'm gonna actually like make it plain, bro. I'm like, you know. So other than that, no, it's good. But just the military jargon, I'm like, bro,
that used to
question
be
mark.
that used to be me, Dad. I'm like 5. I don't know what you're talking about, Dad. I'm 5. I don't get it. Anyways. So, gentlemen, tell us how we connect with you, website, social media, if we're ever in the Columbus area, or if anybody just wants to give. This takes a lot of donations for you guys to do the work that you're doing. So just tell us how we connect with you, gentlemen.
Brother Caffey?
614qs.org is our website, 614qs.org. You can find us on Facebook, same way. You can just search up 614qs. And Instagram as well, 614qs. Awesome. So just put that in there, and it'll pop up, and you can stay up to date with what we're doing. And yeah, just drop us a line.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate all you gentlemen. If I am ever that way, I will definitely have to stop by and say hello. And I wish you continued success and nothing but the best. And I would expect nothing less.
Thank you very much, sister.
Thank you, sister. Thank you.
Thank
you, boss.
That is all for this week's episode of The Male Perspective. I'm your host, Lana Reid, and I will see everybody next time.